Cost allocations for nonprofits. Cost allocation is a critical aspect of nonprofit management, as it helps organizations allocate their resources effectively and accurately. The goal of cost allocation is to determine the cost of each program or service offered by a nonprofit and determine the amount of resources each program or service requires. In this video, we will explore the basics of cost allocation for nonprofits and provide tips for organizations looking to improve their cost allocation processes. What is cost allocation? Cost allocation is the process of assigning the costs of a shared resource, such as staff time, supplies, and equipment, to the specific programs or services that benefit from those resources. The process involves identifying the resources used, determining the cost of those resources, and allocating a portion of that cost to each program or service that benefits from the resource. Why is cost allocation important for nonprofits? Cost allocation is important for nonprofits for several reasons. First, it helps organizations understand the cost of each program or service they offer, which is critical for budgeting, planning, and decision-making. This information can help organizations make informed decisions about how to allocate their resources and how to allocate their funding. Second, cost allocation helps organizations determine the cost-effectiveness of each program or service they offer. By understanding the cost of each program or service, organizations can make informed decisions about which programs are the most effective and which are not, and they can make changes to improve the efficiency of their programs. Finally, cost allocation is critical for accountability and transparency. By accurately determining the cost of each program or service, organizations can demonstrate to their stakeholders, including donors, funders, and the public, how their resources are being used and the impact of their programs. Types of cost allocations. There are two main types of cost allocations, direct and indirect. Direct cost allocations assign costs to specific activities or programs, while indirect cost allocations are used to assign costs to general overhead or administrative activities. Direct cost allocations are typically more accurate than indirect cost allocations, as they are based on the actual costs of activities. Indirect cost allocations, however, can be used to assign costs to activities that are not easily tracked or measured. Tips for improving cost allocation in nonprofits. 1. Develop a clear understanding of the costs associated with each program or service. This includes not only direct costs, such as staff salaries and supplies, but also indirect costs, such as overhead costs, that are incurred but not easily assignable to a specific program or service. 2. Use a consistent method for allocating costs to each program or service. Organizations can use several methods, including direct tracking, incremental allocation, and proportionate allocation. The method used should be consistent and well documented, and it should be reviewed and updated regularly. 3. Regularly review and update cost allocation procedures. The cost of programs and services can change over time, and the methods used for allocating costs should be updated regularly to ensure that they remain accurate and effective. 4. Involve stakeholders in the cost allocation process. This can include program staff, board members, and donors. Stakeholders can provide valuable insights into the resources required for each program or service and can help ensure that the cost allocation process is fair and transparent. Time and effort reporting is another important aspect of running a nonprofit organization, as it helps to track the use of resources, cost allocations of time, and ensures that grants and funding are being used appropriately. A timesheet is a tool that nonprofits can use to accurately record the time that their employees, volunteers, and contractors spend on various tasks and activities. One of the main benefits of using a timesheet is that it provides a clear and accurate record of the time and effort that goes into each project or task. This information can then be used to evaluate the efficiency of the organization, identify areas for improvement, and make informed decisions about where to allocate resources. Additionally, timesheets can help to ensure that grant requirements are being met, as many grants require detailed reports on how funds are being used. To effectively use a timesheet, it is important to set clear guidelines for how time should be recorded. For example, should time be recorded in 15-minute increments or rounded to the nearest hour? Should volunteers be required to record the specific tasks they are working on, or just the total amount of time they are spending? The answers to these questions will vary depending on the specific needs of the organization, and it is important to consider them when setting up a timesheet system. Once the guidelines have been established, it is important to train all employees, volunteers, and contractors on how to use the timesheet system. This may include providing written instructions, demonstrating how to fill out the forms, and answering any questions that may arise. Providing regular reminders to staff and volunteers about the importance of accurate time reporting can also help to ensure that the system is being used consistently and effectively. In addition to using a timesheet, nonprofits may also be required to submit time and effort reports to funding agencies or other stakeholders. These reports typically provide a summary of the time and resources that have been spent on a particular project or activity, and may include information on the specific tasks that were performed, the hours worked, and the outcomes achieved. It is important to carefully review these reports for accuracy and completeness, and to provide a detailed explanation of any discrepancies. What is effort reporting? Effort reporting is a process mandated by the federal government to verify that direct labor charges to, or costs shared on, sponsored projects are accurate, timely, and reflect the actual level of work performed. When someone is paid by a federally sponsored initiative or has volunteered to volunteer their time, the government requires an effort report. The process of confirming to the federal grant agencies that the effort necessary as a requirement of the award has really been accomplished is called effort reporting. See link in description, Federal Regulatory Requirements for Internal Controls over Certifying Time Expended on Sponsored Projects. OMB Guidance Section 200.430. Conclusion. Cost allocation is a critical aspect of nonprofit management, and it is important for organizations to allocate their resources effectively and accurately. By understanding the cost of each program or service, organizations can make informed decisions about how to allocate their resources, improve the efficiency of their programs, and demonstrate accountability and transparency to their stakeholders. By following these tips, nonprofits can improve their cost allocation processes and ensure that they are using their resources effectively. Timesheets and time and effort reporting are valuable tools for nonprofit organizations, as they provide valuable information about the use of resources and help to ensure that grants and funding are being used appropriately. By setting clear guidelines, providing training and support, and regularly reviewing and updating the system, nonprofits can use timesheets and time and effort reporting to improve their efficiency and effectiveness. See our video on direct and indirect cost allocations and payroll and timesheet controls. Our grant management nonprofit accounting book will provide you with guidelines to set up your accounting system, filing system, and much more so your organization can stay in compliance with federal and funding sources regulations. Thank you for watching. Visit us at mygrantmanagement.com for more important information related to your non-profit.